Hi, this is Victoria Campisi with 1851 Franchise, and today I'm here with Candice Bruder, founder and CEO of Pure Sweat Studios. Thanks so much for joining us today, Candice.
Thank you, Victoria. It's just a wonderful honor to be invited to participate in this.
Awesome. So to get started, can you just share a little bit about your journey to becoming a leader in franchising?
Well, I started Pure Sweat in 2017 as a small business owner. It was a first-time venture for me. I'd never been an entrepreneur before. Pure Sweat Studios, we're a wellness business that offers infrared sauna, floating, and cold plunging. I had recently moved to Nashville from New York City, and I saw there was a void in the marketplace for these services that I was so passionate about and that I'd been doing for years. And I just felt that really strong instinct to create something that I would enjoy as a client, and that I felt would really serve communities. So I opened, and within 6 months, I was actually approached by a client to franchise. So franchising was not something that I had anticipated or planned for, but ended up really being the journey of my career in this endeavor. And it's been deeply, deeply rewarding.
Great. What are some unique challenges and opportunities for women in franchising?
Well, I don't want to generalize women like we're all the same, or all have the same personalities or skill sets. But, I could speak generally that, if we regard women as often being great nurturers and caretakers and protectors and more, I think it's important for us to really embrace those talents and those gifts. Those are wonderful gifts that express themselves within franchising and within business, especially if you're in the client services industry. I love how Pure Sweat really has such depth and care to its program within its operations. And I like to think sometimes that is a woman's touch that brings that to culture and also to success within team environment as well. And the way that we also train, coach, and support our franchises. So within that, and I believe strongly there's, yin and yang, and what can sometimes be your greatest strength in a different context can also present itself as a challenge as well. I think it's important for those natural caretakers and those natural nurturers to understand about boundaries, to understand about delegation and the importance of those. That boundaries and delegation also help create a supportive culture so that everybody can thrive. So I would say, those are kind of two of the qualities that I would encourage women to take a look at, to embrace and own and not be shy about that. There's a lot of power in being passionate and being compassionate and having empathy and understanding, to being a great cheerleader for others, and while also having that balance of boundaries, delegation.
Great. How do you define success in your role?
Well, I always say that, as a founder and a CEO, my North Star for our franchisees is that they flourish personally, professionally, and financially. So personally, that means that they are growing as leaders, they're growing as human beings. Professionally, that they get to hone in on their skill sets that they arrive to the table with, as well as develop new, that they get to experience what leadership within their community and businesses is like. I mean, there's so many rewards and gifts to that. And then, of course, financially, because at the end of the day, everyone needs to make money. So that's really our North Star as a business and how we hope to support our franchisees and system to grow. Personally for me, As a founder and a CEO, I want to make sure that the business dynamic is also one that gives back to me, that I get to tap into my superpowers, that I am doing things that also bring me great light and reward and gifts, and that I can experience balance as well too. Being able to have balance as an entrepreneur is such a coveted experience, but that also rings true as a founder and a CEO too.
Great. What advice do you have for franchisors looking to support female franchisees?
Well, I think this is across the board, but I think it's really important for people to identify what is your superpower? What is your superpower? I define a superpower as, what is it that comes so naturally to you? What is it that lights you up and lights up others, that has such ease with success and productivity or results? We all have our superpowers, and I think that we should recognize them, claim them, and really focus and channel in with them. That's something that I speak a lot with our franchisees about, identifying what their superpowers are. Maybe somebody has a superpower with really leading community, with being great shepherds of well-being with their clients and with their team. Maybe they have a superpower with operations. Maybe they have a superpower within sales and marketing. These are all to be embraced and recognized. And that is also going to be very fulfilling and rewarding for a business owner and franchisee as well, whether you're a woman or a man. But sometimes I think women can, be a little shy about recognizing what their superpowers are. And I think we all have that right to recognize what they are, and how we can really tap into them and express them in life and in business. There's such a beautiful exchange of what happens too within entrepreneurship, where being an entrepreneur also helps you recognize what your superpowers are, and then how that then expresses itself within your personal life. I would say that, that also happens conversely, that being within entrepreneurship also can reveal what your challenges are. Often what your challenges are in business may be your challenges, with what they are personally as well. And all of that is okay. But it's important to recognize both, because then you can say, all right, this is the right seat, the right role, and the right path for me, where I can be most impactful with my superpowers. But then I want to bring a team around me that complements where I may not be as strong. So if your strength is within customer care or within marketing and sales, but maybe not so much in operations, all right, I know that I need to hire somebody who's really going to support that role. So you want to find a good, holistic, well-rounded team. And when you have the right people in the right seats, you'll see that everything flows. Within that, though, I think it's really important for people to know, and women to know, that have a growth mindset. Have a growth mindset. A lot of growth comes through challenge as well. We can't sugarcoat that. Being an entrepreneur and a small business owner is for the brave, it's for the strong, but that's part of it, is that you are willing to dive into uncharted territory, to new territory. I understand what that is very well. When I started Pure Sweat as a small business owner myself, I'd never worked in retail. I'd never worked in the wellness industry, but I had passion. I knew what my superpowers were within communications and client care. And I just kept putting one foot in front of the other. But during that journey, there's going to be challenges as well. And there may be, quote, failure as well. I think it's also really important for people to recognize that great leadership is not about being perfect. It's not about never making mistakes. Rather, I recognize it as how swiftly can you recognize the lesson within those challenges or, quote, mistakes, and then apply that wisdom moving forward. There's lots of that within leadership and within entrepreneurship. Find the lesson, find the wisdom, and then apply that moving forward. If you can have that mindset, I think that also shifts it from one of, oh, geez, I didn't know what I was doing, or I was making a mistake, to one of empowerment and giving gratitude and thank you for the lesson that I learned in that. I learned so much about myself. I learned so much about business dynamic. And now I can tap in and lead even more effectively and impactfully going forward.
Great. And then what about advice for women who want to enter the franchise industry?
As a franchisee or a franchisor, or both?
Both, either.
Well, I would say as a franchisor, it's important to, again, it's going back to what are your superpowers, and then how can you build a team around you that really has expertise. Experience matters within franchising. You want to have franchise experts around you. They have all the experience in the background. There are certain structures and best practices and more that you want to have that mentorship and advice, whether that's from your legal team, your financial team, your operations team, but you want to have specific franchise experts at the table. And as for female franchisees, again, I think it's just come back to what is your why in doing this? Identify what is your why in this. And that can give you strong grounding that you can always come back to. Identify your why, identify your superpowers, have strong operations around you. Operations is the backbone of a business. When you have strong operations, all else can flourish. It creates consistency, it creates structure, and then it enables us and empowers us to have space for creativity. But if you don't have strong operations, it's really hard to move forward. That was an important lesson that I learned early on. The operations side of it as a first-time small business owner was new to me. But I really see now how that is the backbone for all else to flourish. And I will share one other thing to anybody who is an aspiring franchisor, which is also tap into what is your why? What is your why for this? That can always be something that you come back to. My why, for example, was, and I knew that I had to connect to something greater than, just even growth or money or power or any, all that. That wasn't going to be what connected me to my why. And for me, what really resonated with me is that, and it was on a spiritual level, that it brought me great joy to know that I could share in a platform so that others could bring health and healing and connection to their own communities. That brought me a lot of joy, and that I could help be a facilitator to light up the superpowers in others, to help foster success with other aspiring entrepreneurs. And that is just so deeply rewarding for me. So that is what I always come back to as my center.
Amazing. And then is there anything else you think our audience should know?
If you have a light and a fire in you and an idea and an instinct that is speaking loud to you, trust it, follow it, go for it. Go for it. Put one foot in front of the other. It's okay if you don't have all the answers. When you're selecting a franchise company, of course, you want to evaluate, what is their system? What is their operations? What does their support look like? Are they a company that has integrity? That really matters. Are you part, this is a relationship that you're creating with somebody, in a very important relationship. And it goes both ways, from franchisor and franchisee and vice versa. I think as a franchise company, we also want to have integrity to evaluate, is somebody the right fit with us? Do they have a strong why? Do they align with our values? As a franchisee, you want to be asking that as well. Do they align with my values? Is there the right support within there? Take time in evaluating this relationship, because it's such an important one. But if you've got that fire in you, go for it. Being scared is part of the process. That's okay. No great things come to us in life without growth and without, conquering and persevering through our fears. There's so many rewards and gifts within it. And I'm just so grateful for what Pure Sweat has taught me personally, professionally, the doors that is open for me, and the well-being that it has taught me in my own practice. So that has in turn made me a better leader, a better wife, a better parent, a better friend and patron of the community. So, look at it holistically. There's so many different ways that we can grow as leaders and as human beings through entrepreneurship and through franchise.
Great. That's great advice to end on. Thank you so much for joining us today, Candice.
Thank you. Thanks, Victoria.